Ho, ho, ho. Merry Christmas, everyone. And we're going to talk about CD Projekt Red's lore designer today and how he reportedly voiced a desire to assault gamers. Yeah, this is Captain Beefy with the Game Vault once again. And I don't know what it is with these guys, man. If it's not, let's just... It's the gaming journalists and gaming developers. They're the gift that keeps on giving all year round. Let's cue up the music and we'll talk about it. All right, so CD Projekt Red franchise and lore designer Cian Mayer recently came under intense scrutiny for a series of inflammatory remarks directed toward the gaming community, including what appears to be a voiced desire to physically assault them, or in this case, us. Anyway, transitioning from a career in gaming journalism to a high-level position at one of the industry's leading AAA developers, Mayer's statement seems to have ignited significant debate about the relationship between game developers and their audience. And here he is. He looks like the kind of guy that, yeah, take a swing, buddy. Just one swing, my man. God, I'd love it. Anyway, his career began in gaming journalism, where he worked as an associate editor before rising to the lead position, or to the lead features editor at thegamer.com. Wonder how he got there. He probably blew his way to the top. Freaking jackass. Anyway, YouTuber Smash JT described the Gamer as a site I've personally felt has become the breeding ground for some of the worst, most spite-filled, hateful people in the video game industry media. And considering what the video game industry media machine is like these days, that's saying a lot. Anyway, since joining CD Projekt Red, Mayer's made several remarks that many perceive as dismissive and antagonistic towards gamers. In July 2022, he shared a meme with a caption, "I am once again asking for you to stop being toxic little weirdos," which many interpreted as a direct insult to the gaming community. Of course, look, he put at gamers there, and there he is with probably his hero, communist Bernie Sanders, who got sold out twice by the Democratic Party and still stands behind them for some reason. I don't know. Another weak man supporting another weak man. So here we see it again. Like yesterday's story, we talked about backlash from a voice actress, when they pushed back against the trailer for Heretic, or Intergalactic, the Heretic Protocol, or whatever bullshit title that stupid Naughty Dog game is going to be. Looks terrible. Looks absolutely terrible. It's going to bomb. I guarantee you. The new Witcher game, I don't know if it's going to bomb or not. I have high hopes for it. I think it could work if the story is actually written and done properly. We've been having some nice, intelligent conversations in the comments below. Unlike people who are supporting the Heretic game, who are just like, you're a bigot, you're this, you're that. Just shut up, guys. Have a fucking intelligent conversation here. Plenty of Witcher people are having intelligent conversations there. We're talking about nuance, talking about how that story could work within the actual rules of that world. Are the developers going to go that route? It's doubtful, but they might. And if they do, more power to them, man. Congratulations, you did a good job. But with guys like this working for CD Projekt Red, I highly doubt it. These are first order thinkers. These are idiots. They're people who just will mold the world to suit the story they want to tell. And the story they want to tell is going to reflect their political or social viewpoints. And they're going to force the story into that box. And it's going to suck. And people aren't going to like it. And it's not going to sell well. And then they're going to blame the very same people who criticized it in the first place because it didn't do well. Now, I could be wrong, but this is probably the way it's going to go. I hope not. I really do. But anyway, earlier in June 2021, Mayr mocked gamers by claiming law school being easier than dealing with gamers, says everything anyone needs to know about this gig, LMAO, suggesting that interacting with gamers was an undue burden. Perhaps the most alarming of his statements came in January 2020 when he directly expressed a desire to, quote, punch gamers, indicating a willingness to physically assault his customer base. This remark starkly highlights his extreme frustration and hostile attitude towards the very audience that supports CDPR's games, and it can be viewed in the image below. Let's see here. Ty Gallas Rose says, in 2020, I want muscles so I can effectively punch gamers, and also so I can carry cute people and dogs of any size easily. That's pretty gay. And then he says, I didn't realize until this tweet, but this is now also what I want. And Christina says, you want to punch gamers or you want CG to punch you? And he says, me and Caitlin will punch gamers together. So, yeah, that's a call to violence right there. I mean, you know, lighthearted or not, you know, and very often things said in tweets and all that are just joking around. I know I can be, if you look through my tweets, there's many times I've said things that are taken out of, if you take them out of context, you know, you could misinterpret them and all that. So there's always that. But still, this is somebody who is talking about punching gamers, which is kind of funny. Anyway, additionally, in December 2020, he dismissed criticism of games journalists by questioning their commitment, stating, if you think this job is so incredibly well paid, it's not, and easy, it's not, why don't you just do it yourself? As should come as no surprise, he's also associated frequently with former Kotaku senior editor Alyssa Mercante, as showcased by YouTuber Vera Dark in the video below. Anyway, these statements collectively paint a picture that he's someone who not only dismisses constructive criticism, but also harbors a deep-seated animosity towards gamers. This is so common in the industry, and I don't know why. I mean, it really feels like I've never seen an industry that is so out of touch with its customer base than the gaming industry. The movie industry's close. You know, the movie industry's pretty damn close. In fact, they are a close second, I would say. But the gaming industry is right there on top, man. They are so out of touch, and I don't get it. I think because, you know, it all stems back, and I hate saying this because a lot of people just instantly roll their eyes and all that, but it is DEI that is a major factor in it. It's not necessarily the DEI you see in the games, but it's the DEI that's behind the scenes that you don't see in the games. It's the hiring processes, the fact that they're not bringing on the best hires for the best positions, you know, the best people for the positions within the industry. Instead, they're trying to fill quotas. They're trying to get a certain amount of women working for them, a certain amount of people of color, a certain amount of gay people or trans or whatever the case may be. Whatever boxes they're trying to check, instead of trying to get the best people for these positions, they're just trying to fill positions with check boxes. And so they're skipping over a lot of potentially good people, you know. And this guy right here, I don't know what kind of box he checks. Well, I can guess what box he checks, you know, just by looking at him. He's got the nose ring and all that and the gauges in his ears. And he looks soft as hell. He looks like the kind of guy that drinks a soy milk latte. Just guessing there. He probably has pronouns in his bio. I don't know. But in any case, his criticism extends beyond gamers to broader industry practices, particularly regarding DEI hiring policies. Okay. He's been a vocal advocate for DEI within the gaming industry, often going so far as to disparage those who question these policies. In a May 2022 thread, he asserted, if you claim you can't get a job because you're straight and white, I'm sorry, you can't get the job because you're shit. This was perceived by many to be a direct attack on individuals who feel marginalized by DEI initiatives. Wrong, dude. That's wrong. Imagine going back to like the 60s and saying, if you feel like you can't get a job because you're black, I'm sorry, it's because you're shit. Imagine saying that, dude. Yeah. Anyway, he further emphasized the importance of diversity in editorial teams, stating that it's absolutely essential to hiring an editorial today. How can you claim to accurately or meaningfully cover anything if your team is just a bunch of dudes who all look the same having beers in the office? Hiring diversely means you can't just hire one person and call it a day, he continued. Outlets categorically need people from all different backgrounds and cultures if they want any chance of offering worthwhile commentary on the Zekis. Meyer's statements have not gone unnoticed within the gaming community and beyond. Critics argue that this approach undermines the relationship between developers and their audience, potentially alienating a significant portion of CDPR's customer base. His hostile remarks toward gamers risk creating a rift between the company and its fans, many of which already are enraged at CDPR over its desire to make Ciri the primary protagonist of The Witcher 4 over Geralt. There's a lot of people pissed about that. I'm not one of those people. You know, I'm interested to see how this turns out. I'm not angry at them for it. But I am curious to see if they take the lazy way out, or if they really work at making a good story and crafting a great story here and making this a real challenge for her, for the character, and for the writers. I have a feeling they're going to take the lazy way out and they're just going to girl boss her way through it, and then they're going to be screaming at everybody and calling them all misogynists and so forth and so on when they don't like the game. I have a feeling, just from, just as far as pattern recognition goes, we see this all the time within this industry. And with a clown like this working for CDPR, it's almost guaranteed. You don't need a whole bunch of different people to comment on things. You really don't, guy. You need people with vision. You don't need that. It's so stupid. Anyways, this could have long-term implications for CDPR's reputation and sales. Yeah, it can. How do they let these guys get out there and talk like this and do these kind of things? How do the powers that be within these companies do that? If I owned a big company and I saw my guys out there on social media talking like this, they'd be up in my office the next day. They'd be retracting their statements or getting shit canned. Maybe both. They would not be going out there running their mouths like this, insulting the very customer base that we're making a product for. I don't care if we're making video games, movies, hamburgers, whatever. If you're out there insulting that customer base, you're done, man. You're fired. Unless you can make a valid, and oh my God, you'd have to get on your knees and make that apology. But unless you can make a valid, sincere apology and give me a valid reason why you said what you said, and I honestly can't think of a valid reason why you would say something like that, yeah, you're gone. Absolutely gone. Anyway, while he champions DEI initiatives which aim to create a more inclusive and representative workforce, in theory, many opposing voices believe that they should hire based on merit alone. And it's true. Prioritizing qualifications, skills, and experience ensures the companies maintain a high standard of performance and innovation, irrespective of an individual's gender, age, or race. Here's the thing. If you're working on a game and you've got the 5 best writers available out there to craft a story, right? And they're working together. And these are the 5 best writers that were out there at the time. They're going to create the best story that you can get out there. Now, let's say they all happen to be white. Okay, and one of the characters in the story is black. If they're the 5 best writers out there, they're going to be able to create a black character and make him believable. Why? Because they're good writers. They're the best that are out there. They're going to be able to do the research. They'll probably talk to some people and make sure, like, hey, this is, I'm looking for some dialogue here. I'm looking for this and that. This is what writers do. You know what a good writer does? A good writer listens and observes and watches people and gets their nuances, gets how they talk, how they converse, how they move, how they handle themselves and all that. A good writer is constantly watching people and learning from them. A good writer sits at an airport and just watches people come and go, and sees them, visualizes them and tells their stories in his head as they're walking by. This guy's doing this guy's coming home from here or leaving to go there. That's his wife. He hasn't seen her in a year. That's his daughter, yada, yada. This is what they do. And they create these characters in their heads and they keep these characters and they use pieces of these different characters for their stories later on, That's what good writers do. They don't sit there and check off boxes. That's why modern day writing is so garbage, such garbage, because these guys don't do that. They just check off boxes. Here's a character. He's gay. Everything about him is going to be the fact that he's gay. Here's another character. He's black. Everything about him is going to be black. Here's a third character. This is a strong woman. Everything about her is going to be that she is a strong woman. And that's it. There's no nuance. There's no anything about it other than these little cookie cutter things, as opposed to here's a guy, and let's flesh this guy out. Here's a guy. He's worked his whole life. He's coming home. He's this, he's that. And, and just building on that character from the inside out and adding these different layers to him. I don't know, man. It's just just doesn't seem to work that way anymore. Everything is so shallow. Everything is so... It's terrible these days. Anyway, overemphasis on diversity metrics can, according to many, lead to a diluted workforce where hiring decisions are influenced by factors other than competence and suitability for the role. And this perspective emphasizes that merit-based hiring not only preserves the quality of the workforce, but also fosters an environment where employees are valued for their contributions rather than their demographic characteristics. His tenure at CD Projekt Red highlights the complex interplay between developer attitudes, community relations, and workplace diversity initiatives. His controversial statements have ignited a broader discussion about the appropriate way to engage with the gaming community and the role of DEI in shaping company culture. Anyway, are you surprised that the CDPR hired a lore designer that seems to hate gamers? I'm not. I mean, look who else they hired. They hired that weird gendermancer or whatever, right? That worked on, I think they worked on Dragon Age the Veilguard. It was Corinne Bush, right? They hired Corinne Bush to work on the next Cyberpunk game, I believe. Looks like they'll scrape any barrel and get the scum from the bottom of it and put it on their team, I guess. But whatever, man. CD Projekt Red is going to be, they're going to be in a bad shape in a couple of years as these next couple projects start launching off the ground here. And they're going to be utter shit. Because if these are the people they're hiring now to work on games that are coming out in a few years from now, DEI is dying, and it's dying very fast. And if they're just getting started on these projects, and these projects are in development now, currently being worked on and all that, but they're nowhere near completion, they're going to be way behind the 8 ball when these things start to come out. And everybody else has moved on from it. So, yeah, good luck with that, guys. Anyway, like I said, Merry Christmas, everyone. If you haven't done so already, please leave a like on the video down below. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and ring that bell for notifications. I will see you guys next time. Thanks for spending a little bit of time on Christmas with me. I'll see you next time. Until then, peace.